6 years after I fled with a secret in my womb, Manhattan's untouchable billionaire heir came to claim my child. I refused. I booked a red-eye flight out of the country that very night. But right at the boarding gate, my son ripped his hand from mine. "She's not my mom. She's kidnapping me," he screamed. Genetics was a terrifying force. He had only met Tristan's sugar baby once, and he was already obsessed with his new mommy. So I turned my back and walked away from everything. Including the boy. I paid someone to fake my death. Rumor had it, Tristan and his son tore the entire city apart looking for me. 6 years after I fled with a secret in my womb, Manhattan's untouchable billionaire heir came to claim my child. I refused. I booked a red-eye flight out of the country that very night. But right at the boarding gate, my son ripped his hand from mine. "She's not my mom. She's kidnapping me," he screamed. Genetics was a terrifying force. He had only met Tristan's sugar baby once, and he was already obsessed with his new mommy. So I turned my back and walked away from everything. Including the boy. I paid someone to fake my death. Rumor had it, Tristan and his son tore the entire city apart looking for me. I was filling out Rowan's elementary school enrollment forms. Outside, a fleet of black-tinted SUVs swallowed half the block. Classic Tristan. He kicked the office door open and clamped his hand over mine right as my pen hit the paper. He didn't even look at me. "Rowan is taking my last name starting today. Rowan." My son.my back went completely stiff. I never thought I would breathe the same air as Tristan again. 6 years ago, he shoved my bedroom door open and threw his latest mistress onto my mattress. He kissed her deeply, ripping off his tie. "Not leaving, Beatrice? How much of this do you want to watch?" Destiny shot me a smug smirk from my own sheets. "Your bed is so soft. Want to join us?" Clinging to my dignity, I turned on my heel and walked out. I sat on the living room sofa until 3 a.m. He finally emerged, shirtless and arrogant. "We're done, Tristan," I said. He raised a brow, thoroughly amused. He closed the distance between us, his tone practically dripping with entitlement. "Are you throwing a tantrum?" A wave of utter pointlessness washed over me. Tristan and I were supposed to be a strategic corporate merger, but then my parents died in a sudden car crash. We hadn't even signed the marriage papers yet. After that, Tristan parodied a revolving door of women through our penthouse. Word on the street was he had been paying for this new one for 3 months. A personal record for him. "Say the word, Beatrice, and I'll kick her out." His gaze softened as he leaned down to kiss me. He still had Destiny's lipstick smeared at the corner of his mouth. I shot up and slammed my designer bag straight into his face. "You are absolute trash, Tristan." He froze. He just stood there and watched me walk out the door, get into my car, and floor the gas pedal. I blocked his number on everything. I never told him I was pregnant. I didn't even run that far. Tristan practically owned the city. If he wanted to find me, he could have. He just never bothered to look. A woman in blood-red stilettos stepped out from behind Tristan. It was the same woman from 6 years ago. Fallon. She waved at the space behind me. "Rowan, want to come live in a huge mansion with Mommy Fallon?" I immediately dropped to my knees and shielded my son against my chest. "We broke up years ago, Tristan," I hissed. "My son has nothing to do with you." I hated Tristan. But Rowan was my flesh and blood. I was allergic to anesthesia. 10 hours of unmedicated labor. I almost bled out on that delivery table for him. After my parents died, Rowan became the only family I had left in this world. Cold sweat pooled in my palms. Fallon flashed Rowan a saccharine smile. "If you don't come here right now, Mommy Fallon is going to leave." She pretended to turn around. The tiny body trembling in my arms suddenly shifted. Rowan ripped his hand out of my grasp and shoved me hard. "Stop it. Why won't you let me live in the big house?" The air vanished from my lungs. "Rowan, what are you saying?" I whispered. "You're so selfish. Why do I have to be poor?" My chest collapsed. A painful lump formed in my throat. I never thought those words would ever come out of my 6-year-old's mouth. My family went bankrupt after the crash. But I made sure Rowan never lacked for anything. He was a picky eater, so I took culinary classes to trick him into finishing his meals. He loved basketball, so I pulled every string I had left to score him courtside NBA tickets. I poured every ounce of my soul into loving him. I gave him everything. But in this exact moment, Fallon threw her head back, a laugh spilling from her glossed lips. "Your son is adorable, Beatrice." She dragged her gaze up and down my frame. "As for you, still as repulsive to men as ever, I see." I locked eyes with her. A cold smile stretched across my face. "What, is your barren womb a badge of honor now?" It was a wild guess. I hit the bullseye. The color drained from Tristan's face. The muscle in his jaw ticked. "One day, Beatrice," he ground out, syllables snapping like dry twigs. "Get his papers ready. I'm taking full custody tomorrow night." My fingernails dug half-moons into my palms. Tristan never made empty threats. I slammed the apartment door shut behind us. I didn't look at Rowan. I didn't turn on the stove. Hunger broke his silence by nightfall. The truth spilled out. He had met Fallon long before today. Penelope and all the other moms were designer labels. Look at you in your cheap rags, he screamed, his face red. Mommy Fallon smells like expensive perfume. You smell like Reese. Like Sheila from the cafeteria. Air scraped down my throat in jagged breaths. I couldn't tell if the phantom weight crushing my ribs was pure rage or absolute sorrow. Rowan was a calculating kid. He squeezed out crocodile tears, bracing for a scolding. Yet his chin jutted out in pure defiance. The realization hit me like a physical blow. My own son despised me. A bitter laugh clawed its way up my throat. 6 years of pure devotion. I mashed his peas. I guided his first wobbly steps. I recorded every single milestone as he learned to speak. All of it erased by a single encounter with Mommy Fallon. He actually gave her my title. Mommy Fallon told me the truth, he yelled, stomping his foot. Dad doesn't even like you. Whoever Dad loves is my real mom. I sank into the cushions. A violent ringing echoed in my ears. The blood drained from my extremities, leaving my fingertips ice cold and trembling. Rowan's relentless whining filled the room, demanding to go to the Upper East Side penthouse. Tristan's brainwashing had already taken root. He promised the boy the world, trust funds, endless toys, everything in the house, if he just came home. 6 years old. Could a kindergartner really grasp the concept of extreme wealth over unconditional love? Of course he could. Tristan was exactly 6 when his father dragged him into my family's corporate boardroom. Even then, the boy knew to look me in the eye and vow to marry me for my shares. The toxic manipulation ran deep in their veins.